This is the Moshpit Backstage podcast for punk, metal and rock interviews and segments.
Hello out there, this is Dirk from Edguy, and you're listening to Moshpit on Sin.
Dirk is a guitarist from German heavy metal band Edguy, who will be releasing Monuments, a compilation of some of their best stuff, new tracks, and a DVD of a live performance on July 14th. Dirk, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Now, you have an extensive catalogue. How do you go about picking through all that to find the 22 tracks that are on this record?
Well, on one hand, it's a pretty hard job because there'll always be songs you want to have on this issue. But on the other hand, we said at one point, okay, we can't put every song on it. So the focus was to create an overview of Edguy's work in the last 25 years, and I think this is pretty good. And then it's not really. Doesn't really matter if you have like Spooks in the Attic or All the Clowns or whatever. It's you have to create a great overview, and I think this is what we did, and the turnout is pretty good. People really like it, especially the mixture of songs we have on it, and also the thing that we added 5 new songs was another thing that we had in mind, because of course we have to look back these 25 years, but we are still alive, still there, and there's hopefully more years to come. So hopefully another 25. So we said, okay, then we have to do some new songs, and of course you put the new songs in the front.
Now, in terms of those new songs, you're putting up kind of an overview of your material. Comparing that to writing and recording a new album just that's separate on its own, did you approach that any differently? Because it's going to be, you listen to those new songs, then you listen to this great overview of the history of Edguy?
Well, it was, I would say it happened coincidentally, but we never, I mean, of course we made up our minds if we should do a new record, but then we said, okay, we have to celebrate somehow, and at some point we realized, okay, we should maybe add some new songs to like I said before, to show to the people that we're still there and stuff. So we had to hurry a bit regarding songwriting wise, and not really spending too much time in thinking. So everybody did some demos at home, and we just sorted out what are we going to have to create this little EP on this best of album, and so we said, okay, let's do this 5 songs, and we did it a bit different than in the past. So we did a lot of some stuff at home, like myself I recorded guitars at home, some stuff, and which was pretty cool because you can save a lot of time, and that was the only way to make this possible this time, to have these new tracks on the record.
The limited edition of the package includes a photo book with images from throughout your career. What was it like going through all those memories? Because that's, it's not just images of your life, it's images of a group of people experiencing something really special together.
Exactly. It's it's a big book of memories for me, or for us, and of course, you have your little stories to all these pictures, and that's something I really loved when we went through the archives to check out for all those pics and stuff, because you really have to like look at thousands of pics with thousands of memories and thousands of funny or bad or whatever situations, and we hope to get people find these situations while looking at those pictures, because there's always, I mean, me as a fan, when I see like photos from bands or whatever, and I remember, I've been on that tour when we played with Maiden when they released Brave New World, for example, and I see whatever, you have your memories, your own little story, And I hope we can fill people's minds with lots of stories while looking at this book. And it's also a perfect timeline of Edguy, because it really starts when we've been just kids, not looking like rock and roll at all, just like kids having ugly guitars and ugly clothes and ugly hair, you know. It's so fun to watch the development of the band. You also can see the first professional photographer. You immediately realize, then they had a real guy who knows what he's doing. Before that, it was always like, can my dad maybe, you can take some pictures, of course. Yeah, you stand in front of this wall. Yeah, that's okay, light-wise. And it's just good to watch, to see the band's development and to see what we've done, to the places we've played. And it's really, really good. It's like a big book of memories.
Something that kind of fascinates me about you and a lot of bands which sort of started at a similar time and playing a similar style of music is the kind of idea. It seems crazy to me, living now, I'm relatively young, I wasn't around back then, that people were saying heavy metal was dead, but yet it seems to have come back so vigorously. Could you talk a little bit about what it was like, and sort of in that time where something that you love and you've put it's been your passion, people are saying that's dead?
I mean, that was pretty hard when we started the band, because especially here in our hometown, there was like a little scene of bands and we did shows together and stuff, but they all were like they played more aggressive music. Let's say that like Pantera was hip at the mid-90s and stuff like that, and everybody was like, they're doing this power metal thing, which is totally dead. And of course we covered songs from Nirvana as well in the beginning when we did cover songs and stuff, but like I said before, for some reason we tried to focus on what our heart says, and that was the music we felt to do, and so we did it. And the good thing is, if you do it with your heart, you just do it right. And I think that was maybe the reason why it somehow worked. And of course, you had this little power metal wave in the end of the 90s when for example, Hammerfall and Glory to the Brave came to the market. It was like a little sensation back then. I mean, I'm not a huge Hammerfall fan. I like the guys, but and I was at the first show of this band, and I was like blown away. It was in Wacken. I was there because I just finished school, and I think Jens and Toby have been in Finland to mix Vainglory Opera back then. But there was like, Wacken wasn't that big. It was like 30,000 people, and but everybody was singing those Hammerfall songs, and I was like blown away, and I was like, wow, amazing. And that was also a sign that things changed a bit again, but a lot of bands disappeared again from that era. So it's more a matter of good music, not really if it's power metal or whatever metal. And I mean, we also changed our style a bit because we are not really getting sick of it. But we had those fast years in the beginning, but it turned out to be a little bit more relaxed in the past years, which is pretty okay, and I like it. But it's always a matter of good music, not really a matter of what kind of music. And if you look at those classic rock bands from the 70s, they're still there and still alive. And this music is going to stay forever. And that's the main thing.
Your band is pretty remarkable in the fact that you've had a really consistent lineup. I think it's been 20 years, the entire band, and you've had only about one lineup change. How have you managed to stay together so consistently?
Well, good question. Actually, it's a bit like a marriage, because you spend so much time together, and we started so young. But the good thing is, we just don't sleep with each other. So this makes it in real life. It's basically the things that makes life complicated for some reason for many people. And no, I think the fact that we started so early. I think it formed the view of the band members, and you have that global aim all over your life, and I mean, it's such a big part in your heart, Edguy, that it's like a baby. And I think when we've met much later, like with 35 or something, it could have been much more difficult, because then your personality has shaped a bit different, and you're probably not really willing to give compromises and stuff. And that is one thing you always have to keep in mind. And what I do when it's about conflicts, I always try to focus on how heavy it is, and you have to look back and you have to look forward, and then you have to make a decision if it's worth it, or if you just have to calm down and just let it go. And you also know the trigger points of every other member, so you have to, you know what to do if you want to bring them down or up, whatever. And it just works if you're willing to do some compromises here and there, but always have to focus on your big aim, and that's what counts. So little problems can always be solved. Even big problems can be solved, but you have to be professional at a certain point. That's it.
In terms of you personally, 25 years is a long time to be doing really anything, I think, in most people's life. How have you managed to kind of stay passionate about the band?
I mean, here and there are moments when it gets a bit tough, because you're kind of tired of doing bad shows and bad touring situations, or early flights or overnight drives or whatever. This is something you don't. I mean, when you're 20 and do it the first time, everything is cool. So it's good to do a US tour in shitty clubs because you haven't done it before, but it's great to be in the US, and it's great to tour the US in general. But after so many years and so many shows, you know what you need to deliver 120%. And for me, I'm actually pretty easy, but it's more like we even had places where you don't even get water when you arrive. So this is something I don't really need anymore, because I'm pretty happy if I have a good place to stay, and some food and some water and some nice people around me, which is pretty important. I think it's the crew people that work for us or with us, and we have people working for us since 20 years, which basically shows that we can get along pretty well with each other. And this is pretty important, to have the right people around you that just don't poison anything, you know?
Now, the DVD included in the release is your live performance back in 2004. Have you been saving this particular live video for this kind of release?
No, not at all. I mean, the basic plan for this material was to release a live DVD back in 2004 or 5 maybe. But we had some technical issues and stuff, and had spent a lot of money in recording this thing, because things were a bit different in 2004 than nowadays regarding cameras and video cut and everything. Technical-wise, it was much more complicated. So, there were some issues with cameras and technical problems, like I said before, and that was the reason why we finally decided not to release it as a full-length DVD. There were some parts of it on the Superheroes EP, some video parts, and when we talked about this monuments thing, we decided to give the video footage to a company we trust, and they said, okay, we can recut this thing and do some work here and there, and then it might be all right. And we checked it out, and it turned out to be that it's working. And so we said, hey, come on, let's share it with our fans and put it on this Monuments edition as a great edition for people. Just maybe some of them have been at this show. Some of them have been on this tour, which was like the biggest tour so far in the band's history. We played like 100 shows on the Hellfire Club tour, And I think it's a great document of a great timestamp in Edguy's career, what Edguy was like in 2004. And I hope, but I think people will enjoy it.
When did you first start playing the guitar?
I think I was like 9 years old, and I got a classical guitar for Christmas. Basically, I wanted to play drums, but for some reason my parents weren't that happy about that drum decision, and they were the opinion that I should start with the guitar first, and I think it was the right decision. I don't know if I would have been a good drummer, but I like guitar much more. They are more in the front. The drums are always in the back.
Are you listening to anything notable at the moment? Any albums or bands that are on your favourite list at the moment?
Nothing really special, I have to say. I've listened to Aerosmith yesterday, because we're going to play a show with them together on a festival next week, and I'm really looking forward to that because I'm a huge fan. And we had the chance to play some shows with them a couple of years ago, and that was really amazingly brilliant. And it was like one of those shows when you go back home and think about, maybe I should sell my guitar tomorrow and do something different, because it was so good.
Monument will be out on July 14th. Dirk, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to the Moshpit Backstage podcast. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and Omni. To find out more about the show, go to www.syn.org.au/moshpit. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/moshpitonsyn, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at moshpitsyn. The regular Moshpit radio show broadcasts punk, rock and metal tunes and interviews every Thursday nights on Syn 9.7 on FM and digital radios. Listeners outside of Melbourne, Australia can stream Syn 9.7 online at www.syn.org.au. Thanks to Vintage Ruin for the music.
Hi, this is Tomato from Flash Gun Apocalypse.
Hi, I'm Enid from Girls School.
I am Phoebe Pinnock from Heavenly Axe.
Hey, this is Gary Oldmead of the Misfits.
Hey, this is Kat Sproul from Horizon's Edge, and you're listening to the Moshpit on Syn FM.
Hi, this is Einar from Leopard.
Hi, I'm Virginia Lilly from the band Lily.
This is Raul from 1349.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ali from Zebrahead.
Hey, everybody, this is Charlie Benante with Anthrax, and you are listening to the Moshpit on Syn.